Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 31 of the SMB Talks. As I promised, February, the show is going to be graced by amazing guests. A lot of good people are coming on the show. I've been repeating that every week. So today I am super excited because the guest today is a special one for me. I love his content. I follow him diligently on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Is a very fantastic guy. He and his brother, they are doing some fabulous work, which I look up to. So today's guest is Dan Knowlton. He's the co-founder and CMO of UK-based digital and social media marketing agency, the Knowltons. Okay, so he's a UK-based digital and social media marketing expert who has grown Knowlton into a multi-award-winning business that has worked with the likes of FIFA, Wall, Nestle, Citibank, Eurotunnel, and Boston Consulting Group. In addition to running Knowlton, Dan is also known for giving his best insights away on stages around the world. This is pre-COVID, remember that, okay? Dan is also the co-host of the Business Anchors podcast. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's fun, which is the only business podcast you will get excited to listen to at the weekends. So Dan is someone who, if you follow him on LinkedIn, he and his brother, they put out such an interesting collection of content which you will love, learn, and get entertained at the same time. So without further ado, let me bring him on.
Hello.
Hey, Dan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I made it. Yeah, lots going on, but yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. How is the COVID situation there?
Not great. It's we're in full lockdown at the minute. So yeah, but it's looking better. I think with the vaccinations and things, we're on the way up, which is good. But yeah,
right. You look like you're at your office.
Yes. Yeah. Working from our office. Yeah. Working remotely sometimes, but coming in other times when we're doing video shoots and things. So.
Right. So we will talk about all that very soon. So Dan, just to give a background, I started the show when COVID kicked in, and I bring on a guest like you. I have had people like Rand Fishkin coming on the show, sharing their insights and exciting, lessons from their own lives, which everybody can imbibe and, become stronger to get through all this. So thank you so much for taking time out. And I have curated a set of questions about video marketing, how SMBs can adopt it, about you, Knowlton, Lloyd, a lot of things. So
I'm excited.
So if you're ready, I can start off one by one.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. All right. So Dan, one thing which I've noticed about you, you speak a lot, or you used to speak a lot with, in front of audience across the globe. I know that about digital and content, etc. And also you are the co-founder of Knowlton, So how did all this start? Were you into marketing from day one, or you just stumbled across your way?
Good question. So I did a marketing degree at the University of Brighton.
All right.
But to be honest, I didn't really learn a lot about marketing, which sounds sort of counterintuitive, but I did that degree and then I went straight into a job. I did a graduate management scheme at a company called Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is really random. But I worked my way up the ranks there, learned how to run a branch, learned about sales, managing people, customer service, a whole range of things.
Right.
And then I quit my job, moved back in with my parents, and then I started working with my dad, who had a consultancy, and just started self-teaching how to kind of build an audience on social media, started building up my presence, and then started our agency. Then Lloyd, my brother, came on board. And then for the first 4 years, just trying to figure out what on earth we're doing, really. And the last 2 years has been us now growing our team and getting much bigger, well-known brands on board. And yeah, that's about it, really.
Touch wood. I just saw your post yesterday about the milestone you guys just hit and the backstory about you moving with your parents and things like that. It's a fantastic journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been it's really interesting. I never really take much time to look back at like always try and look forward, like how are we going to achieve our next goal? And it's interesting sometimes to take a look back and think kind of where we've come from. So yeah, that was about that.
Fantastic. All right. So, you're a specialist. I love the kind of content you guys create, all the videos. I'm a big fan of that, to be honest with you.
Oh,
so
thanks.
You're a specialist in, creative video marketing, including ads and stuff like that. So, this might be a lame question for you, but for the audience, it might be important, because do you think videos are a powerful tool for brands to focus on? I know the answer, but still I want to ask. And if yes, why?
Yeah, I think one thing we need to be careful of is, we love video. Video is great. It's worked incredibly well for our business. We know the power of video. I guess what I don't want to do is, just because we've had success with video, tell everyone you must use video.
Right.
Because I think, like even listening to other experts in SEO, in pay-per-click, and in print, everyone seems to preach that everyone should do what they've had success with.
Right.
So I think, firstly, everything we go through today, take with a pinch of salt, because video isn't for everyone. If say you run a small business and you're thinking of being on video, if you are really scared of being in front of the camera, you're not very good speaking, yes, you can work on that, but there may be other channels that you could be using. Saying that, from our experience, we've had a huge amount of success with video and producing video content that drives a trackable result for our clients. So I definitely think video is a really powerful tool to get in front of people, convince them that you add value, and get them to actually buy what you sell.
Right. Because, the reason why I asked that question is, once upon a time, videos were something which only selected brands could do. But now that's not the case. There's a lot of democratization which has come in. People are investing in video and people are interested in creating videos. So that's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah, that. I think with smartphones and stuff, the barrier to entry now is so low that, how good quality with an iPhone you can create good video. I think it's about also understanding the different types of video. Like, there's place for video that you can produce on an iPhone. There's place for highly produced content. So it's trying to understand that balance of what you should be producing and how you should be producing it.
Absolutely. That's a very valid 2 points there. Mm-hmm. Right. So, I want to talk about a little bit about the use cases. Okay. What are the typical use cases you recommend for videos for brands across the buyer's journey?
I think, I'm sure people watching this will have heard of a kind of a traditional marketing funnel, or taking that logical approach and thinking, if I sell pens, for example, what's the process someone goes through when they're looking for a pen like mine, right? And when you start to really think about that logical approach of, do they search on Google? Do they ask their friends where to buy pens? Are they on social media? Do they look for review sites? Once you work backwards and start to understand that typical buyer journey, then you can create content that helps guide those people through that journey. So, for example, they may have objections along the way. How long does the ink last in this pen? Is the color bright enough for what I want? There's all these questions I need answering. I know this is a really simple example, but you need to be thinking, how can I communicate and help overcome those objections, communicate why this pen is the best pen for you? And it's really, I was on a podcast the other day talking about this, and it sounds so simple and so, it's nothing crazily advanced, but I think a lot of marketers don't do the basics right. They don't think of what is their buyer journey and how can they create content that guides them along that process. So it's a really simple way of trying to figure out content, doing it like that.
Right, absolutely. Even the pen example which you gave, it's not that simple to sell a pen also. It's a tough thing to sell. Absolutely. All right. But that's a right way you mentioned, better to ask those questions and then build it from there.
I also, just to add one thing, sorry.
Sure.
I think that approach I've just mentioned is a very practical approach. We also need to take into account that people are very impatient. If I'm trying to sell this pen on social media, no one's on social media to buy a pen. Right. So you have to think, you can't sell anything to anyone unless they're paying attention to you, and you need to hold someone's attention to be able to sell them something. And from our experience, the content you create needs to be interesting, needs to be informative, needs to be entertaining, needs to be insightful to actually get people to hold their attention. Once you've got their attention, then you can sell them the pen. So it's trying to think creatively, not just in a practical way. And I think where we've really excelled as an agency is cracking that code of how do you produce content that is something people want to watch and also sells them the pen.
Right. I've seen some of your creative work for your clients, which is mind blowing actually. That exactly does the same thing. It keeps you entertained, and it also sells subtly also. So that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So next question, I focus predominantly on small and medium businesses because they need maximum support from a marketing standpoint. So, can according to you, can SMBs leverage the power of videos in building and promoting their brand, or is it ideal only for brands with bigger pockets or budgets?
Again, from my experience, anyone can. Like if I look back to when Lloyd and I were working out of my parents' back room and we didn't have any income, we didn't have any budget, and we were creating videos ourselves. We taught ourselves how to do it. We didn't have a huge amount of expertise. We didn't invest loads of money in equipment. We had a low-cost camera, editing software. I can't remember what it was now, but it wasn't very expensive. We did everything on a budget, and I think there's literally no excuse. If you've got, a smartphone and some initiative, you can start as a starting point. Obviously, the idea is to be able to learn how to improve and get better. And I think the key thing to remember is you have to make rubbish videos to learn how to make good ones.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest things stopping people is that they think, oh, if I post a video, I'm not going to come across as best as I can. I might look nervous. I don't know what I'm going to say. The quality isn't as good as other people I see. That doesn't matter initially when you're starting, because you need to learn how to create the video well. So, yeah.
Right. So initiative and intention is very, very critical. Just start. Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right.
definitely.
So now I want to get a little bit in detail. Like, for example, if I want to ask you your top 3 advice for SMBs who want to leverage videos as part of their content.
Good question. So
I know you have a lot of advice, but I just want 3 right.
Okay. So I think the first thing, again, trying to keep it simple, is it's so important to understand who it is you're trying to take what action. Like, who is it that you're trying to target and what do you want them to do?
Right.
Once you really understand who that person is, who is that decision maker that you want to become a customer, then you can work backwards and start to plan and produce content that actually appeals to those people. I think so many people go out there and think, I run a small business, I need to start making video. They just make a video talking about their small business. But you need to be thinking like, who are for example, I'll give you an example of how we do this. Our decision makers we want to get in front of are people within marketing teams of brands. And we know that people in marketing teams of brands, they know a lot about marketing, they get marketing. There's certain situations within marketing that they understand. Us as an agency, we produce content that appeals to those people to draw them in, entertaining, interesting content, insightful content that marketers will actually care about. And that helps us draw that audience in. So the first thing is really understanding the who, and it is kind of the basics of marketing, but not enough people kind of focus on that.
Yeah. All right.
That's number one. Second one is to stop putting things off because based on excuses. Like I said earlier, people aren't making videos because I don't know if I'm going to come across well. The equipment's not good enough. The longer you put things off, the longer it's going to take for you to get the results you want. So stop making excuses and start now.
Right.
And the third one is try to think creatively. I think like there's so many people online that produce videos that look like everyone else in their industry. I'm an IT person and I make a video of me talking about IT. Try and think, how can you be unique? How can you produce content that's different, that makes you stand out, that has a different spin on things? Because if your content looks like everyone else in your industry, you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely. Okay, that's top 3 advice. Know whom you're marketing to or producing the videos for. Number 2, just start and keep testing, improving, whatever you want to do. And number 3 is keep your spin to it, give your touch to it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's
Perfect.
fantastic. That's fantastic.
Cool.
All right. So next question is, what are some of the key things which small and medium business owners need to keep in mind when they start their video marketing journey?
I think consistency is important. I think if you're just saying, I'm going to start video, and you don't really have a plan as to how you haven't scheduled the time to properly plan for it and prepare for it and strategize, and you haven't properly planned the time to shoot it and edit it well, then it's not going to get the results you want. I think making sure you're scheduling that time. This is another thing, speaking to lots of companies, that we do as an agency that's really helped us is how we manage our time. So every second of every day, we come into work and we know what we're doing because we've had a monthly planning meeting, a weekly planning meeting, a daily meeting. So we know exactly what's going on. So I think, making sure you're properly planning your time. It will be a good investment of time to do that. Definitely.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. So, next question is a little bit, which you guys are very good at, is creativity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can SMBs, I know creativity sometimes doesn't come so easily, or it depends on person to person, but how SMBs can rely on creativity while leveraging videos to tell their story?
I think it goes back to the point I mentioned in terms of understanding the who.
Right.
And there's something we do when we're kind of thinking about producing creative video. We start with the who. So who is it you're trying to convince to do something?
Right.
Literally get a flip chart, draw that person in the middle. Is it 50-year-old Steve, the golfer, who's, lives in Kent or lives in wherever? Draw that person in the center, and then start to kind of think of different ideas around what would 50-year-old Steve, the golfer, relate to? What funny situations will he understand? What does he talk about with his friends in the pub or at the golf course? What are those things that he's talking about right now? And you may need to do research into this. If none of you are in that target demo, actually doing the research to speak to 50-year-old Steve, ask him those questions. What do you talk about with your friends in the pub? In your friends' WhatsApp group, what are you chatting about? Those kind of things. And then you can start to think and start to develop video concepts that tap into those relatable situations. Because when someone sees a piece of content that they relate to, that they're watching and thinking, I totally get this because this is what I do. It's what me and my friends talk about. Then they're hooked in. Then you can bring them into more of a sales message and talking about your product because you've drawn them in.
Right, got it. That's a very, very. I can sense that it's coming from a person who does this daily.
Yeah, I think it's also coming from a person who didn't used to do this. So we didn't used to do this, and we didn't used to get as good results. So it's just a case of trial and error constantly to figure out what works.
Absolutely. At least now people have something to refer to. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So next question, plain and out. What kind of videos do you recommend to small and medium businesses as part of their content marketing strategy?
So I think thinking about that traditional marketing funnel model, a really kind of actionable step people can take is to think of a basic 3-stage marketing funnel. So at the top, building awareness. Right. At the middle of that process, building trust or consideration. And at the bottom, action or purchase. Right. So as an activity, you literally note down awareness, consideration, purchase, and start to map out content ideas based on those 3 stages. So for example, at the awareness stage, one type of content you can produce to drive awareness is educational content. From your experience, from your expertise, what can you teach your audience that they want to learn? For example, for us, we started out, the way we initially got traction 6 years ago was whenever we learned anything to do with social media, we created an in-depth tutorial teaching others how to do it. That helped build awareness of us because we turned into the guys that shared useful insights and educational content. Take into account that middle of funnel consideration stage. What trust building content can you produce to build trust? Case studies, testimonials, evidence to show that you deliver on your promises, tutorials with your product if you're selling products, user unboxings and reviews if you're that kind of thing. And then at the purchase stage, what can you produce that's going to really give a clear call to action to get people to buy when they're ready to buy? That's really a basic kind of format to decide what content to produce.
Got it. I think that's good enough for somebody who is starting the journey to stick to. That format might work for them. Right. So any, just again, advice on people who are starting, any video marketing tools you recommend for SMBs to kickstart their journey?
Yeah, I guess it depends how they're producing video. I think when I started out and I was producing video with my phone, and didn't know a lot about video, there's a few apps that I used that it could be a good starting point. I think one tool for getting confident on camera is using things like Instagram stories or Facebook stories or TikTok or Snapchat, stories-based platforms where you can pick up the phone and start to create content in an authentic way. And it doesn't need to be highly produced. That's a really great tool for building confidence on camera and starting to produce that kind of content. There's a few other like random apps I use on my phone, especially for people who are starting out. An app called InShot, which is for editing video on your phone. It's quite simple. Another one called Cut Story is another app you can use to cut videos to the correct length for different story platforms. Other than that, I think a lot of the content we produce now is our editors and our amazing team produce. So I don't get involved in that much. But if you're starting out, those kind of apps can help you.
Absolutely. All right. Next question is, since you are from one of the agencies, does it make sense for smaller medium business owners to consider creative agencies for supporting them with their video marketing, or is it too expensive?
I think it depends on their budget and it depends on what support they're looking for. So, for example, we do a lot of big brand work. However, we do also work with smaller companies to develop strategies, to provide consultancy. So I think certainly in the strategic element where you can gain a huge amount of value to help you know what to do, I think there's definitely options for support there. Like I said, we work with smaller companies. In terms of outsourcing, I'd say, in my opinion, most of the people or smaller companies you can afford to outsource for a very low fee, from my experience, don't deliver on their promises. So I'd be very careful if you're paying someone 300 quid a month, 400 quid a month to manage all your social media. Just be careful and do your due diligence to check that they have case studies and things, because I think there's a lot more than people think goes into managing social media and ad campaigns.
Right, I got it. That's that. But the point here is, if you want an agency to help you build your strategy, that's also a good starting point. That you get some kind of leverage from that.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, each individual person needs to evaluate their situation, I think. But in most cases, much smaller businesses, probably haven't got the budget to outsource their marketing completely. However, we've worked also with small businesses to produce standalone video content. So it's really kind of deciphering what budget you've got and what you can get for that.
Got it. So speaking of creative agencies, let's talk about Knowlton. It's a small team, fantastic team, doing a lot of kick-ass work. So let's talk a little bit. You mentioned a little bit about the origin story. So I want to know, how did it reach at this point, and what kind of services do you offer?
Sure. So really I think we've been going 6 years now, just over 6 years. The first 4 years, really looking at it, was Lloyd and I just figuring out stuff. It was us learning, testing, working with smaller companies and trying to figure out this whole marketing thing, because it takes a lot of trial and error to really understand. And, we've still got a long way to go. We've got lots to learn. We haven't nailed everything at all. So those first 4 years are really that. The last 2 years have been sort of growing our team. So we're now a team of 6. And the last year we've hired 3 people. And we're really starting to build out our team and what we're offering. In terms of what we do offer, we offer three main things. 1, strategy development. We work with brands to develop marketing strategies. 2, content production. We've got a really creative team that produce really great creative content, a lot focused on video. And 3, paid ad management. So paid social media ads. We manage, set up, run paid ads that drive a trackable return on investment. They're the 3 core areas.
Fantastic. All right. So, you have been doing some stellar work in creative videos and, marketing strategies, etc. And you have got some very high big brands, as your esteemed clients. So if you can share some of the big brands you have worked for, some of the work you are so proud of, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like looking back along the way, there's always those kind of pivotal moments where you win a new brand and they get bigger and bigger. So like when I look back, I think one of the first like biggest for us at the time organizations was like the local council. And we did some work. This was 6 years ago when we started. We won the council Kent County Council as a client. And we were like, wow, this is the best thing that's ever happened to us. And then the next milestone from there was Eurotunnel, I think. Eurotunnel is the underground train system from the UK to France. I think they've got like 3,500 employees. For us, it was like a huge company. And we did some really exciting video projects with them. And that was a pivotal moment. Next, things like FIFA, for example. 2 years ago, I flew out to Dubai and trained the head of digital at FIFA, Nestle, Citibank, and did a whole range of training out there. That was a really amazing experience. And then more recently, we've worked with Wall, the longest running male grooming brand, huge personal male grooming brand on a whole range of campaigns. So yeah, I think it's each time we get a new big client, we kind of milk that for all it is to promote and get more business, just like you would have seen with my recent post for a company we've just started working with. They've got some amazing results. We kind of build on the new bit of work we've done to get the next project. So
right. Yeah. Every client is a new, good, interesting case study for you, for example.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So, talking about Knowlton, it's not it isn't the right word for me. It is Knowltons, plural. So, Knowlton cannot be complete without Lloyd, because I love Lloyd. I find him very interesting. Whenever I see
I'll tell you said that.
And and surprisingly, we have been connected on LinkedIn, so I'll send him a connection request today.
Please
right?
Do.
So, what role he has played in your life as a brother, as a co-founder?
A huge role, I think. Like we obviously have grown up together, spent a huge amount of time together as we were kids. We went off and did our separate thing, and then I think what really works with us two is that we're so opposite. So
I was about to say that.
In all aspects of life, we're complete opposites, and especially in decision making, in our skill set. So it's really helped the fact that all the things I'm rubbish at, he's brilliant at, and vice versa. So in terms of a partnership or a business partnership, it's worked incredibly well from that sense. Also, because we're family and we're brothers, there's no ulterior motives. There's no me trying to get one over on him. We both want each other to be successful and happy. So forever, we're going to try and support each other to do that. So there's no question of, is he making that decision because he wants something more than me, or vice versa? We completely trust each other, 100% trust. And yeah, we really get on. We like spending time together.
Fantastic. It's very nice to see I don't know whether chemistry is the right word, but the chemistry between you two in the videos and stuff. It's like taking energy from each other.
Yeah,
right.
It's all genuine as well. Yeah, we're not putting an act on.
No, absolutely. I'm pretty sure of that. Right. So another thing which I've noticed from you over the period is the kind of keynotes you give. I've seen your YouTube videos on that and all that. So you have been giving some keynotes. So if you can share some of the keynotes which you are very proud of, that would be very nice.
I mean, it's been a while since I've done one because of COVID.
Right.
I think the last one I did was at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego in March last year.
Right.
I'd say probably the one that's most memorable to me that I'm really proudest of was Digitalium in Romania. I posted a video of it the other day, actually. And it was talking about advertainment and how to produce entertaining advertising. And I got to speak on stage with Mark Zuckerberg's sister, which was a bit of I was kind of fanboying her. But yeah, that was, and I think I've done so many talks, and some of them go okay, some of them go badly, some of them I really feel like they go well, and that one I sort of felt good about, but they're not all like that.
Right. Yeah. Whichever I have seen, they were pretty nice, and some valuable insights from them from your deck as well. All right, that's fantastic. So my final question, we wrapped it up pretty soon, so I can go have my dinner faster than I expected.
Good for you.
So, one last question which I ask all the guests who come here, because we are going through this pandemic. How has COVID-19 impacted you and the Knowlton?
I'll be honest. Initially, when it all started, it was very worrying. Well, sorry, from a business point of view, I'm talking from a business point of view, it was very worrying for the business because we had a lot of campaigns put on pause. A lot of brands, it was uncertain times, so no one knew what was going on. So we were thinking, wow, how is this going to pan out? So it was very concerning. And then after a while, we started to rethink, are we going to have to rethink the whole business? What's going to happen? And then we actually just knuckled down and spent so much effort and time in working on our own business, on our website, on our marketing. And we actually got a few really decent new projects in, hired 2 more people. And yeah, it's kind of been really busy since then. There's definitely, I think December, it started to look slightly quieter. So it's still, it's not just all going up like that. It's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster. But business-wise, overall, we've been okay. We're very fortunate that our clients aren't in hospitality because, I've got lots of agency friend owners who, some of them, all their clients are in hospitality and they're just, what can they do? So personal wise, my fiance had COVID and very lucky that she got through that and been very fortunate really. But yeah, other than that, all good.
I know you became a father also recently.
Well, he's just over 1 now. So
all right.
That's exciting. Right.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Dan, to taking time out and coming on the show. It was fabulous. I'm pretty sure people who will watch will take some initiative to produce some videos and do some kick-ass work like you guys do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. So that was Dan Knowlton from Knowlton, the creative agency from UK. So as I mentioned, this is a fantastic initiative I love so much. Every Friday, I look forward to talking to these people. So 2 more weeks in February, we will be learning SEO from a fantastic expert next week. And in the final week, we have the king of customer experience coming. So thank you for tuning in today and see you all next Friday. Thank you.